USCIS warning. In a major alert for immigrants across the United States, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services has identified 10 green card traps in 2025 that could lead to the loss of permanent resident status, even for long-time green card holders. These aren't speculative risks. These are real regulatory changes, tightened enforcement procedures, and expanded removal triggers that are already in effect. USCIS is warning immigrants to stay informed or face serious consequences, from denied re-entry to revoked status and even deportation. The 10 traps include seemingly minor mistakes: overstaying abroad for too long without a re-entry permit, forgetting to file a timely change of address with USCIS, inconsistent tax filings, accepting certain public benefits, violating work conditions tied to your status, and more. These are issues that, until recently, may have gone unnoticed, but in 2025, they are under intense scrutiny. USCIS has also enhanced its digital monitoring, cross-agency data sharing, and background verification systems. That means small discrepancies between your travel, work, or tax records can now flag your file for compliance audits. In short, the margin for error is disappearing. This video will reveal all 10 green card traps that could silently ruin your immigration status. We'll show you how even a single overlooked mistake can lead to a notice to appear or cause problems during green card renewal or naturalization. With thousands of immigrants affected already this year, legal experts are urging green card holders to take immediate steps to secure their status. Staying passive or uninformed is no longer an option. If you or your loved ones are green card holders or plan to become one, you need to watch this entire video. We break down each trap, explain who's at risk, and what you must do to protect yourself in 2025 and beyond. Don't wait until a letter from USCIS shows up at your door. Hit that like button, stay informed, and safeguard your American dream before it's too late. The stakes for every green card holder in 2025 have never been higher. What used to be small administrative missteps are now treated as serious breaches of immigration compliance. USCIS has made it clear that the landscape has shifted. They're not just reviewing applications, they're actively reevaluating the status of existing green card holders, often without warning. This growing scrutiny means that thousands of immigrants who believed their residency was secure are now finding themselves entangled in investigations, delays, and even removal proceedings, often because of avoidable errors. But how did we get here? It all started with a series of policy recalibrations introduced in late 2024 when USCIS announced it would be adopting a zero-tolerance approach to residency compliance. That meant stricter travel monitoring, closer review of benefits usage, and tighter coordination with other federal agencies. For many immigrants, this policy shift went unnoticed. The changes were not widely publicized, but the consequences are now being felt. For example, imagine you travel back to your home country for a few months to take care of a sick family member. In previous years, that might have raised no red flags. But now, if you exceed certain thresholds without proper documentation, USCIS could determine you've abandoned your residency. And just like that, you're in violation. Another area where green card holders are finding themselves blindsided is taxation. Yes, something as seemingly routine as how you file your taxes can now impact your immigration status. USCIS, in partnership with the IRS, is cross-referencing records. If you filed as a non-resident for tax purposes, even accidentally, that could suggest to USCIS that you don't truly reside in the United States. And if they believe you don't reside here permanently, they can, and in many cases already have, begun proceedings to revoke green cards based on that basis alone. This is not theoretical. Immigration attorneys are reporting a surge in clients who are now having to fight removal because of these misunderstandings. Another serious concern is the growing reliance on automated systems to flag files. USCIS has expanded its data analysis programs using AI to scan through immigration histories, travel records, employment logs, and even public benefits usage. If a system flags your case as inconsistent or non-compliant, a human officer will be assigned to review your file in detail. But by then, the damage may already be done. That's because most people don't realize they're in trouble until they receive a notice to appear, a formal document notifying them of deportation proceedings. By that point, you're not correcting a simple error. You're building a legal defense. The reality is that USCIS is not just checking whether you followed the rules during your application. They're watching how you live after your green card is granted. Your daily choices, where you work, how long you travel, what benefits you receive, how often you move, all now factor into whether you're seen as a true permanent resident. This is especially critical for people who split their time between countries. If USCIS suspects that the US is not your primary home, they can begin a process to cancel your status. Some people think that having a US mailing address is enough. It's not. The agency is now examining credit histories, utility usage, and property records to determine where you actually live. This is where the danger lies. Most of these traps are not malicious mistakes. They're born out of confusion or lack of awareness. People assume that once their green card is approved, their responsibility ends. But 2025 proves that the opposite is true. Getting a green card is no longer the finish line. It's the beginning of an ongoing relationship with the U.S. immigration system, one that demands vigilance and constant compliance. Even things like failing to renew your driver's license in time or not updating your employer on your status can create inconsistencies that raise red flags during review. Take, for instance, the rising number of people who are being questioned over public benefit usage. Under new 2025 guidelines, green card holders who apply for or receive certain federal assistance, even when legally eligible, may find themselves subject to an additional layer of review. It's not always about whether you broke the rules, but whether you've triggered a condition that makes USCIS look at your file more closely. This is especially troubling for older immigrants or those with disabilities who may genuinely need assistance but are now afraid of the consequences. And then there's the trap of legal misunderstandings. Many immigrants unintentionally violate the terms of their green card by taking jobs they aren't authorized to perform. For example, certain work categories require special clearances or licensing. If you take on freelance work, remote jobs abroad, or under-the-table roles that conflict with the terms of your status, you're putting yourself at risk, even if you pay your taxes properly. USCIS is increasingly requesting employment histories during naturalization interviews. If they find discrepancies, they may not only deny your citizenship but also initiate revocation of your green card. What's also important is advocacy. USCIS processes can be opaque and stressful. Mistakes happen. You have a right to correct errors in your record, and you can challenge wrongful revocations. But you must act fast. You must know your rights, understand appeal procedures, and keep updated with changes published in the Federal Register. Join immigrant rights groups, follow credible immigration news sources, and don't rely on chance. Knowledge is your strongest ally. The immigrant journey is one of courage, sacrifice, and resilience. And in 2025, it also requires diligence and strategy. The green card is an incredible achievement, but it is not guaranteed. USCIS is watching closely, not to punish, but to enforce what they now see as high-stakes compliance standards. You must rise to meet that expectation, or risk losing everything you've built. As we close, remember, every trap we've discussed today is preventable. The problem is not that the rules exist, it's that many don't know them, and USCIS is no longer lenient with ignorance. This is your moment to take control of your future. Stay informed, stay protected, stay ready, and most importantly, do not ignore this warning. Watch this video in full. Share it with your family and friends. Take notes. And if you found this information helpful and potentially life-changing, as it truly can be, then don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. More critical updates are coming, And missing them could cost more than just your status. It could cost you your future.